Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're with Kent Stewart, who's talking to us about his experiences trying to get up on top of Mount Everest. Kent, when was it that you went the last time?
I left Birmingham on April the 7th.
And you started training for that, how far in advance?
Well, I had trained, I was supposed to go to Everest in 2014, and my trip was canceled the day before I left Birmingham because of an avalanche that happened over there. So I'd actually trained for 20 months for this most recent trip.
Unbelievable. I'm just shocked at the work that you put into this. But I guess you have to if you want to do it and live through it.
Right.
So you said you made Camp 2 the last time, or the first time you tried it. What level is that? What elevation?
Camp 2 is only about 22,000 feet.
Everest is what?
29.
Okay. Well, it doesn't seem like so far. I mean, you're like, it's those last 10,000, isn't it? It's tough.
Yeah, they get a little harder as you go up.
So there was an oh, they do?
Yeah.
Because the air gets thinner?
Yes.
So there was an avalanche before you left Birmingham.
Right.
And you didn't go.
That's right. My trip
That
was
would have been
canceled.
trip 2.
That would have been 2, but I never left
So
town.
on trip 1, you got sick.
Right.
On trip 2, there was an avalanche before you got there.
Right.
And now comes trip 3 in April.
Right.
Tell us, leading up to that, how that went.
Well, this trip was going beautifully. I mean, I was way stronger. Our team was doing great. The conditions were perfect. In fact, Tommy, 2 days before the earthquake, we were almost laughing about how easy the route through the icefall was, and we were all going to summit, and everybody was giddy, and it was just, we should have known better, than to get complacent on Everest, because
Karma.
every
Everest
time you
karma.
do that, something happens, But I was supposed to be on the mountain on April 25th, but I decided to take one more rest day, just because.
When you say on the mountain.
Right.
Well, you're already on the mountain.
I'm on base camp. I'm at base camp on April 25th.
But base camp is 22,000 feet.
No,
now.
base camp's 17.5.
Okay.
Camp 2 is 22. And
just for those of you that would like to know, Gulf Shores is 10 feet elevation. Right. He's just a touch above that. Unbelievable. What's Birmingham?
I think Birmingham's around 600 to 800, depending on where you are. 600 feet.
Okay.
But
so now we're mosey on up to 20-something thousand feet.
I was supposed to go up to Camp 3 on April 25th, which is at 23, 24,000. But I decided to take one more rest day just to be as strong as possible, because when you go through there, you want to be at your best. And my guide agreed, and so we were just hanging around base camp that day, eating, and just sat down to eat lunch when the earthquake hit.
Wow.
And
otherwise, you would have been at 3?
I would have been on my way to 3. I would have probably been at Camp 1 by that time. And it just, I'd never been in an earthquake before, and ground just violent, shifting back and forth.
Wow.
And we were in the mess tent. We ran out and looked up and saw the avalanches coming off the surrounding mountains there. But you just don't feel like you're in danger, because there's no buildings to fall on you, there's no structures to fall on you, and you're so far from these mountains that it looks like it's a long way away. But then just in a matter of a couple seconds, it was just on us. I mean, it happened so fast, and we jumped back in the tent, and for about 20 seconds, we got pelted pretty good, but no one in our little area was injured, and we really thought the worst was over. And then our radio started going off, and it was a fatality here and a fatality there and a serious injury. And so we realized at that point that the rest of base camp had been hit really hard.
Well, how many people were up there?
There was 170 on the mountain, which left about 800 people at base camp. It's usually right about 1,000 total people, of which 400 and so are climbers, and the rest are support staff and that kind of thing.
So there are people that, for lack of a better expression, stay at base camp year-round?
Yeah. Well, no, not year-round, but they're there the entire Everest season.
Is there a season? Mm-hmm. What is the season?
It's March, April, and May.
That's it?
That's it.
Because other parts of the year, it's way too
It's just the weather's
cold.
not good enough, right? Right.
So how many people lost their lives?
We had 19 lose their lives at base camp that day, and another 72 were seriously injured.
So I guess there's no power.
We had generators, yeah.
So y'all were operating off
Yeah.
of generators.
Mhm.
And it's total chaos.
It was, you know, it wasn't really chaos, which is the amazing thing. It was a model of efficiency.
Control.
The doctors took charge. We had several climbers were doctors. We had
Are
other
there doctors at base camps as well?
There's a couple, 2 or 3 doctors assigned to base camp, but the hospital was destroyed. So all the injured were brought to our camp because we're the only part of base camp that had tent standing. And so our dining tent, we took all the tables and chairs out and turned it into a triage unit, all of our dining tents. And everyone came together, the Sherpas, the climbers, the guides, the doctors, and it was an amazing thing to watch, getting 72 critically injured patients through there in 24 hours, and we flew them off the mountain on helicopters the next day.
And how long did you stay afterwards?
Well, our team decided to stay until every climber was off the mountain.
And when you say your team, how many people is that?
We had about 20 climbers on my team.
Okay.
And we decided to stay until everybody was down, which took another 24 hours. So I was at base camp for about 48 hours after the earthquake, and then I caught a helicopter to Kathmandu, and from there, 3 days later, I was home.
Well, there was serious damage in Kathmandu as well?
Yes, I was able to see the villages on the way from base camp to Kathmandu were just destroyed, where all the Sherpa people live. They were just rubble. And then some sections of Kathmandu I saw from the air were gone. Most of the city is still standing. I don't know how safe it is. You know, I'm not sure I would want to be in any of those buildings right now. But a couple of sections of the city were totally destroyed. And a lot of the ancient sites, unfortunately, were destroyed.
And you don't want to be in those buildings, but you don't mind jumping back up on that mountain, do you?
Well, there'll be maybe next year.
Fascinating story. We're happy to have you here, and I know you're happy to be here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away.